What about the role of jealousy? Something you
Yeah.
also written about in a relationship. Is uh is that a feature or a bug? You started to speak about it, but is it good to be jealous of your partner inside of a relationship? How does it go wrong? How the pros and cons?
So I've written a whole book on this called the Dangerous Passion, Why Jealousy is as Necessary as Sex and Love. And I think that one cut at your question is that a moderate. So first of all, I think it's a feature, not a bug, in most cases. So in the sense that you have to have an adaptation that is sensitive to threats to a valued relationship. Okay, because, and I think I alluded to this earlier, that just because you're in a relationship and you're in a relationship with a desirable partner doesn't mean that you've finished solving the problems of mating that you need to solve, because there are threats from the outside. So mate poachers, people who try to lure your partner away for either a sexual encounter or a more committed romantic relationship. And then there's also dissatisfaction within the relationship. So your partner might become tempted to be sexually unfaithful or romantically unfaithful or emotionally unfaithful. And so we need humans, with the evolution of long-term pair bonding, we need adaptations to guard the relationship and be sensitive to threats to the relationship. And I think jealousy is one of those. I think it's a key one. And now, that I think that there are a variety of benefits to it, but also a variety of costs or downsides to jealousy, because we know that male sexual jealousy, is the leading cause of spousal abuse and spousal violence, physical violence, probably emotional violence as well, or psychological violence. And so that's why I call it the dangerous passion. It's a necessary emotion, but it is also a dangerous emotion. Leads to homicide. Leads to and I've studied also homicidal ideation, which intersects with this topic, in that men, sometimes women to a lesser degree, develop homicidal ideation about people who are trying to poach their mates, or who do poach their mates, successfully poach their mates. So what jealousy does is it alerts you to a threat to the relationship, and it motivates checking out the source of the threat. How threatening is this? So people tend to increase vigilance of their partner in the modern world. It includes, hacking into their cell phone or computer, monitoring them, sometimes stalking them, but also can include positive things. So it might be that, so one trigger of jealousy is a direct threat to the relationship. But there's another more subtle trigger of jealousy, which is a mate value discrepancy. So usually when people mate, they assort or pair up on overall mate value. So in the American 10-point scale, the eights tend to pair up with the eights, the sixes with the sixes, the tens with the tens, and the ones with the
But
ones.
American, is there other scales?
I
I
don't
wonder if
know.
the numerical systems. Well, there's a binary. I just go with binary 0, 1. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
The eights pairs with the eights, sevens. And
Yeah,
sevens.
yeah. So in general, but there are errors in mate selection. You kind of alluded to that issue earlier, that sometimes people make errors in mate selection, which they do. So sometimes you think this person is well matched on mate value, but they're not. But then things change. So let's say they're the same. You have two sixes, and then all of a sudden the woman's career takes off. All of a sudden she's getting promotion. She's acquiring wealth. She's attracting men who are of a different mate value than she previously did. Well, that triggers jealousy in the guy, even if she swears she's going to be totally loyal and she has no signs of leaving or no signs of infidelity. A mate value discrepancy is going to trigger jealousy. Now, what can it do? Well, it can do in the broadest sense, people can do two classes of things. They can do cost-inflicting things or benefit-providing things. So the man in that situation might say, okay, I need to devote more attention to my partner. I need to up my game when it comes to resource acquisition. I need to lavish more attention and gifts on her. And so there's a whole suite of benefit provisioning things that can help to reduce that mate value discrepancy. And then there's also cost inflicting things that and humans unfortunately do both sets of things.
Yeah, there's also this maybe that's love. I notice the people I especially love or have a connection to, romantically or otherwise, there's a feeling like I don't deserve you. So with friends, with so on, like, I mean, tend to think that about almost everything, which is why it's a strong signal when I don't feel it that way, which is like, how lucky am I to have this? And that's a weird illusion of inflation of value or something. Like, I think that the positive effect of that is motivates me to be better. I guess on this 1 to 10 scale to be higher, and you sort of kind of have to like, it's a nice feature that your mind sees others that you have affection towards as higher value, and it forces you to have that. Like, I'm a person that experiences jealousy, and that forces me to be better.
Yeah,
I get my shit together.
Yeah, well, and I think that the sometimes the best relationships are when both people feel lucky to be with the other person.
Yes, exactly. It's balanced that way, and then that's when you, in terms of jobs, in terms of going to the gym, all those kinds of things, and so a little bit of jealousy. I have discussion with those people. I always wonder. There's people in relationships where, like, no, they never experience jealousy. I wonder what that's like, because they're very successful relationships, but and I always wonder, I'm currently single, so I'm always doubt that I know what the hell I'm doing at all. But I'm definitely somebody that experiences jealousy and kind of enjoys jealousy, like a little bit of like missing. To me, that's like you're missing the other person.
Yeah, well,
you're longing for the other person.
And here's another interesting wrinkle that I also talk about in the book is sometimes people intentionally evoke jealousy in their partner. And I think that's also a kind of testing of a bond kind of issue.
Yeah.
So, and especially women, but I think both sexes interpret a total absence of jealousy as a sign that their partner is not sufficiently committed to them or sufficiently in love with them. So if you, like, just say, I don't know, if you go to a party with your partner and then you leave the room for some reason, you come back and your partner is passionately kissing someone else and doesn't bother you at all.
Yeah.
That might be a cue to the partner that, well, maybe you're not very in love with that person or not very committed to them.